Welcome to Deep Dive. You're here because you want knowledge, fast and thorough, and today we are looking at one of the biggest topics out there, the pursuit of wealth.
But not in the way you might think.
Exactly. We're not talking about spreadsheets or stock picks today. We are going right to the source. What has to happen in your mind before you even earn that first significant dollar?
That's the whole mission for this deep dive. We're unpacking material from sources like the Millionaire Mindset that argue wealth is never really an accident. It's a consequence.
A consequence of an internal system.
Yes, an internal system that you design for growth. So we're really focusing on that internal evolution that has to happen before you see any external results.
You know, we've all heard the stories about millionaires. Oh, they got lucky, or they knew the right people.
Right place, right time.
And these sources just offer a completely different argument. They show that, yeah, okay, luck might play a small role in timing, but success is sustained by something much more reliable.
And that's intentional, consistent, and frankly, relentless internal discipline.
It's like you're installing a whole new operating system for your daily life.
That's a great way to put it. Most people see the end result, the big company, the nice house, they see the skyscraper. But our sources, they take you down into the bedrock. They show you the foundation being laid in secret, long before anyone saw a thing. And that foundation, that's the mindset.
Okay, so let's unpack that foundation. The core idea seems to be that millionaires operate differently because they literally think differently.
And it's not passive thinking. It's an active, deliberate training of the mind.
Like an athlete training their body.
Exactly like that. They're actively rejecting limitations, excuses, and fear. That word, intentionality, it's everything.
Give us an example of that, because think differently can sound a little abstract.
Sure. The source material draws us a really sharp contrast. So while the average person might be looking for entertainment,
Scrolling on their phone, watching TV.
precisely, they're absorbing content passively. The future millionaires doing the difficult work. They're sitting alone with their goals, forcing themselves into uncomfortable clarity. They choose to read, to learn, over just consuming.
So it's not really about time management. It's more like energy management.
It's an energy and focus distinction. And to make this really concrete, one source uses this powerful symbolic image. It's just a clean desk, a laptop, a coffee, a book, and a little bit of money.
Right. And it looks so simple, but each item is an ingredient.
Each one represents a core component. The
Right.
book, that's a commitment to knowledge, to always be learning. The laptop is the tool for execution, for planning.
Turning ideas into action.
Exactly. The copy represents the long hours, the focus, the willingness to work when others aren't, and the money itself. That's about results, but also about managing it like a tool, not just a reward.
But the source really stresses the clean workspace. Why is something as simple as being tidy so important?
Because it represents internal clarity. The argument is, look, if you can't control your immediate small environment, how can you possibly control the massive, complex variables of building wealth?
It's a physical sign of a clear mind.
It is. It signals that you're entering a state of purpose. You're not waiting for motivation to strike. You are creating it through your routine, through this intentional setup.
They trust the vision before there's any proof.
And that leads to the big question the sources pose for you, for the listener. Are you willing to think and act like someone who is already successful, even if your current reality doesn't match?
Because you have to become that person first.
You have to become that person first.
That's a perfect lead-in to our next section, which one source calls the moment that changes everything. You hear that and you expect some big dramatic event.
But the source completely rejects that idea. It says the real shift is quietly, internally, almost invisibly.
So not a lightning bolt moment.
No, it happens in the stillness, staring at the ceiling on a long drive, sitting at that clean desk. It's a totally ordinary moment that you give extraordinary meaning to.
Okay, but if it's so quiet, how do you know it's happened? Is there a marker for it?
There is. And this is where the source gets really specific. That moment is triggered by a single question you ask yourself.
Which is,
What if there's another version of me that I haven't met yet?
wow,
It's this immediate rejection of your current self as the final draft.
that's so much deeper than just setting a goal. It's like you're not trying to acquire potential, you're trying to access a version of yourself that already exists.
Absolutely. Growth starts right there with that awareness. And the successful person nurtures that idea. They understand it doesn't have to happen fast, but the mental change that has to start right now.
So they start with perspective, not with money. That changes everything. Your laptop isn't just a computer, it's an opportunity.
Your silence isn't empty, it's strategy. Your coffee is fuel.
And it brings us back to that clean workspace. You're arranging your life to support that growth.
Which is the first step. And here's a crucial insight from the source. Your environment shapes your mindset long before your mindset shapes your environment.
Say that? That's huge.
Your environment shapes your mindset long before your mindset shapes your environment. If you're surrounded by chaos, your mind will be cluttered. If your space is focused, your mind finds direction.
So it puts all the pressure on these tiny daily decisions. What you look at, what you listen to, what clutter you allow.
It does. It shifts the responsibility for success away from external factors and squarely onto your own personal arrangement.
Which leads us perfectly into the next section, what the world doesn't tell you. The sources argue that society, it almost trains us for mediocrity.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
The material is pretty blunt here. It suggests the wealth gap isn't just about economics. It's about a failure to teach the right mindset. Society pushes comfort, security,
Playing it safe.
playing it safe, exactly, over possibility and taking calculated risks on yourself.
And there's this one brutal line, comfort is the enemy of growth, that goes against everything most of us are taught to strive for.
It does. But the successful realize that what feels like stability is often just stagnation. Where the world says, play it safe, they say, no, bet on yourself.
Where the world says, this is good enough.
You're asking, what's next? What more value can I create?
And this is where we see that huge split between the employee mindset and the creator mindset.
Yes. Most people are kind of stuck in this mental framework of trading time for money. That's the employee mindset.
It's about earning, about getting a paycheck.
Exactly. But the millionaire mindset, it shifts completely to value creation, to leverage, to ownership. They ask totally different questions every single day.
So instead of how much vacation time do I get, the creator is asking,
How can I grow? Instead of how do I work harder, they're asking, how can I multiply my time?
right, leverage, building systems.
Building systems that create value even when you're not actively working. It's
Yeah.
moving from transactional thinking to exponential thinking.
And maybe the biggest one, instead of what can I buy with this money?
They ask, how can I invest this money to create something that outlives me?
That's the whole game right there.
It's the difference between seeing a dollar as something to consume versus seeing it as a seed you need to plant. Most people just never challenge those mental prisons society gives them.
Beliefs like money is hard to make or you have to be lucky.
And those beliefs feel very real when you're struggling. But the source makes it clear. The shift isn't about intelligence. It's not about opportunity. It's purely about mindset, and that is always in your control.
So you start by just noticing your own thoughts.
Yes. Observe your internal dialogue. When an opportunity comes up, does your brain immediately list all the reasons it will fail? That's the prison at work.
So where the average person sees a bonus and thinks new car, the successful person sees that same money and thinks new investment.
It's the internal switch. And once you flip that switch, you need a game plan. Which brings us to the really actionable part, the 7-point millionaire mindset formula.
And the best part about this is that these habits cost $0 to start. They just require a decision, a real one.
Just a decision. So let's walk through them. Number 1 is clarity.
Knowing exactly what you want.
Exactly, not a vague wish, a crystal clear picture of the future you're building. They live with direction, not confusion.
Number 2, discipline.
This is about doing what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like it. It's choosing routine over your current emotion.
Number 3 is vision.
Which is holding that clear picture of the future in your mind, always, and using it as a filter for every decision you make today.
4, learning.
A total obsession with it. Reading, listening, finding mentors, constantly absorbing knowledge that moves them closer to their vision.
5 is a big one, execution.
The sources are so blunt here. Ideas are worthless. Consistent action is everything. You have to apply what you learn.
Number 6, resilience.
You're going to fail. Setbacks will happen. They see failure as feedback, as data. But quitting, that's just not an option on the table.
And finally, number 7, the investment mindset.
All right, we touched on this, but it's the foundation. Money is a tool to grow assets, to multiply value. It's never just for spending.
You know what's so powerful is that these aren't just 7 separate things. They're a loop. They all feed each other.
It's a system, a self-optimizing engine for growth. The mindset is constantly feeding itself new data, new challenges, and getting stronger.
So what does this all boil down to for you, the listener? The sources bring it right back to the start. The whole journey begins with an internal conversation.
A quiet argument.
A quiet but fierce argument between who you are now and who you're determined to become.
And it starts with that declaration, I am responsible for my thoughts, for my environment, for my direction. That's the ultimate goal. You earn a new identity before you earn a dime.
The identity of a builder, a creator, an investor.
Yes. Once that internal identity shifts, the external world has no choice but to follow. Wealth is a mindset long before it's a number in a bank account.
And, you might not feel ready right now. You might not see the whole path, but the sources are clear. They don't wait for readiness.
They start right where they are, with what they have. If your thoughts grow, your opportunities grow.
So we'll leave you with a final thought to mull over today. We talked about those mental prisons.
What one deeply held limiting belief about money or about your own ability, what one belief must you challenge and completely reject starting today to begin building that new identity.
Choose growth over comfort. Take that internal conversation seriously, because building that invisible foundation, that's what separates the dreamers from the achievers.